There was a man who worked as a contractor living in Los Angeles. His name was Wade Porter, and he lived with his fiancée Laura and their son Michael. Wade tried to grow his business and fulfill their daily needs. Wade was also preparing for his wedding with Laura. One night, while Wade and his family were sleeping, Wade faintly heard someone enter his house secretly. Wade then took a baseball bat to protect himself. He also took Laura to Michael's room to check on him. After that, Wade headed to the kitchen, but the mysterious man hit Wade until he fell. Fortunately, Wade was not injured. Then when the man was about to take something from his pants pocket, Wade chased the man and hit him with his baseball bat. Unluckily, Wade accidentally hit him, and the man died outside Wade's house. Meanwhile, Laura had contacted the police about the incident at her house. When the police arrived at Wade's house, instead of helping the terrified Wade, the police arrested Wade as a suspect for the murder. The police said that the mysterious man was not carrying a weapon. He also added that Wade could have defended himself if the man had died inside the house, but unfortunately, the man died in Wade's yard. Wade and Laura were both shocked and disappointed, especially Laura, who knew exactly that Wade was trying to protect his family. Laura and Wade tried to explain the incident, but the detective arrested Wade and took him to prison. On his arrival at the prison, Wade and the other newly arrived inmates were registered and given medical checkups. But soon a prisoner named Viper attacked Wade. This was due to Viper thinking Wade was staring at him to challenge him when Wade was just looking at his surroundings. Fortunately, the warders then entered and secured the situation. Wade was then moved to a cell filled with several tattooed men. Wade was assigned to clean the toilet in the cell twice a week. On the first day of Wade's detention, Laura visited Wade and told him that Michael was scared. Laura also told Wade that their son had asked where Wade was. Laura could only tell Michael that Wade was away. After Wade's arrest, Laura and Michael moved in with Laura's mother, Maggie. However, Laura was afraid that someone would come to avenge the death of the intruder. Laura was also worried about Wade, who was bruised on his face. Seeing Laura, who was sad, Wade then tried to calm her down by saying that everything would be fine. After his conversation with Laura, Wade met a female lawyer. She offered Wade to pay $1 million and Wade would be free. Hearing that, Wade felt he couldn't pay because Wade didn't have that much money. Meanwhile, in another prison, there was a violent incident committed by the inmates. They burned curtains, tissues, and blankets. Then a former police captain named Gordon investigated one of the inmates who was suspected of being the provocateur in the incident named John Smith. It was revealed that the reason John started the incident was because he was tired of serving a 20-year prison term. John wanted to be free from there immediately, especially when John remembered that his dead daughter would have been 27 years old if she was still alive. Long story short, on the 95th day of Wade's detention, he met the female lawyer again. The woman gave Wade two solutions. The first solution was that Wade pleaded not guilty and did not kill. Then Wade would get a sentence of less than 3 years. Also, if Wade stayed out of trouble in prison, his sentence would be halved. Moreover, Wade has already spent 95 days in prison, so the remaining period of Wade's detention will be approximately 15 months. As for the second solution, Wade would have to wait a year to go to trial, but with a sentence of premeditated murder. In addition, Wade could be sentenced to 15 years in prison. Wade firmly chose the first solution. The trial would take place 2 days later, and Wade would serve the remaining time in prison. The day of the trial came, so Laura and Maggie looked at Wade with tears in their eyes. After the trial finished, Wade was taken back to the prison using the prisoner bus. On the bus, an inmate named Snowman greets Wade. Snowman told Wade that there was one inmate who was feared in prison named Danny. Snowman also suggested Wade to hang out with inmates of the same race as him in prison. In the middle of which Snowman was talking, Viper looked at Wade. It turned out that Viper, who attacked Wade on the first day, was on the same bus. Meanwhile, Danny secretly took out a nail from his pants pocket. Then suddenly, Danny injured one of the inmates. After that, Danny approached Snowman and gave him the nail. Snowman, who knew it, didn't dare to fight Danny. Finally, he accepted the nail and gave it to Wade. Soon the guards came and checked the inmates on the bus. Then all the inmates, including Wade, were put into an isolated cell as a result of the incident on the bus. Wade felt that he was framed by Snowman. He felt frustrated because he knew very well that he was not a criminal. Wade was upset about everything that had happened. A while later, the warden interrogated Wade as a witness to the incident on the bus. But the warden named Bill actually already knew that it was all Danny's doing. However, Bill still wanted to get a statement from the inmates who were on the bus. Wade, who heard that, was confused, but finally Wade didn't tell Bill that the culprit was Danny. Wade did this so that he could get protection from Snowman and his friends in prison. But the warden informed Wade that Danny could have killed Wade because Danny was a cold-blooded killer. Wade was initially scared, but he still didn't want to tell Bill about Danny. Wade, who consciously chose this decision, also knew that he would get more punishment. Then Wade was moved to a special cell called a closed cell, where Wade could only go out to the field for an hour and shower 3 times a week. Then it was Wade's turn to get a chance to go to the field. While on the field, Wade saw that there were many high-profile felons there. A few moments later, there was a fight between them, except for Wade, who was just silent in confusion. Meanwhile, Bill, a warden who was watching them, didn't rush to stop the fist fight. He seemed to deliberately let it happen. But there was one warden named Collins. Collins, who saw the riot, felt odd because Bill didn't stop them all immediately. Furthermore, Bill ordered other warders to fire rubber bullets at the inmates in the field because he wanted to see the fight get more interesting. One of the inmates who knew that felt that Bill's actions should not be like that. However, Bill, who saw that the inmate was unhappy, brutally beat him up. After a tiring morning, Wade finally met Laura, who was not allowed to see Wade for 3 months. Laura asked Wade why he was in a closed cell. Wade explained that he was involved in a problem that caused him to be punished and put in a closed cell. Wade also said that his detention period had been increased by 90 days. After that, Wade asked how Michael was doing, and it turned out that he was fine but missed Wade. Laura also said that she hadn't found a job yet, and her money had run out. Wade, who heard this, felt sorry for Laura. Finally, Wade told Laura to use the borrowed money that Wade should have used for his contracting business. One day, a new inmate named John Smith arrived at the prison where Wade was in. John was the inmate who caused the riot at the beginning of the story. It is known that John was transferred because he had killed 17 inmates. When John arrived, he was put into a closed cell along with Wade. Meanwhile, the other inmates who learned that John was transferred to the prison felt respect for him because John was a senior inmate. Bill, who brought John into the cell, said that John should not make trouble because Bill would brutally punish him if John made trouble. In addition, Bill also took photos of John's daughter and wife so that John could not see their photos. Luckily, John, who had a scary vibe, didn't make a scene with Wade, who panicked because John was in the cell. The next day after Wade, John and the other inmates went to the field. Wade and John talked about their families. Wade told them that he missed Laura and Michael. Meanwhile, John still remembered clearly how he got into prison. Wade then asked John how he got to know so many inmates when he was just transferred to the prison. John then explained that in the prison there were several groups based on race. First, there were Latin Americans from the South and North. Then there were those of the African race who were usually joined by Asians. Furthermore, there was a group consisting of races like Wade, mainly the Aryans. Then John explained that people like Snowman would order new people from selling drugs to killing other inmates. If a new inmate like Wade refused the order, then Wade would die. All of John's words were proven the next morning, when Snowman ordered Wade to fight with inmates from the Hispanic gang. Wade, who knew this, could only obey Snowman's orders. Luckily, Wade managed to win the fight. But on the other hand, Bill and Collins argued. Bill told Collins to shoot Wade's opponent with a regular rifle. Collins, who knew that, felt heartless and wanted to shoot with rubber bullets. However, Bill was stubborn and shot the inmate in the leg with a regular bullet. This made the inmates shocked because Bill fired real bullets. Wade also panicked seeing the incident. When Wade arrived at the cell with John Smith, he received information from him that usually the warden would shoot the inmate who won. John also said that Wade would eventually become numb if he saw other inmates being hurt or shot. On Wade's 231st day of detention, Laura came with Michael to visit Wade. Laura was surprised to see the bald Wade. Then Wade explained that he was forced to join the Aryan race so that he could get protection in prison. Hearing that, Laura was speechless. Then Laura complained about how her economic situation was getting worse. Laura said that the loan money had run out. Wade told Laura to sell everything they had, such as their house, car, and anything that could be sold for their daily needs. Laura, who looked tired, agreed to Wade's words. In the following days, Wade continued to be ordered by Snowman to beat up other inmates. Until one day, Wade dared to refuse Snowman's orders. He told Snowman to beat up the other inmates. Hearing Wade's refusal, Snowman was furious. He immediately ordered his friends to attack Wade. The warden then threw tear gas, which made all the inmates have a difficult situation. However, John managed to save Wade, who was cornered. After Wade's wounds were treated and Wade entered the cell again, John warned Wade that the white gang would target them both. Despite this, Wade was glad that John saved Wade from the incident. The next day, John and Wade came to the field. They met Danny there. Instead of attacking John and Wade, Danny told his men to attack Snowman. This happened because Danny found out that Snowman was a sneaky person who gave Danny's nail to Wade during the incident on the bus. Then, without any time, Danny's men were able to defeat Snowman. Meanwhile, Bill, Collins, and other warders monitored the inmates from above. Bill looked very upset with Danny. Collins, who saw it, was surprised because there were several inmates who beat Snowman. Then one of the other wardens said that Bill really hated Danny because 5 years ago, Danny threw his pee and poop at Bill. The incident made Bill suffer from hepatitis A and infected his family. In addition, Bill's wife finally divorced Bill. Collins found out and got a little scared of Danny. In the cell, Wade asked about the tattooed dates on John's hand. John then said that they were important dates in his life. The tattoos were John's daughter and wife's birthdays, John's first date with his wife, John's wedding day, John's daughter's first steps, and also the date when John's daughter and wife died. Moreover, John left one tattoo blank because John will fill the box with the date when John and his family will reunite, or in other words, the date of John's death. Wade also talked about Wade's preparation to stabilize his economy and job before marrying Laura. Sadly, Wade ruined their wedding plans by going to jail. Then one day when Bill took his son to baseball practice, one of his friends who was a warden warned Bill not to punish inmates as he wanted so that Bill would not get an impression if Bill's superiors saw all the CCTV footage. But Bill ignored his friend's words because he felt he did what he thought was good. One night Wade had a dream in which he killed an intruder in his house. Wade felt regretful because killing the intruder ruined his own life. John, who knew about it, told Wade not to regret it. John thought that Wade's decision to protect his family was the right one. In order to convince Wade, John shared the reason why he ended up in prison. This began when John chose to kill the family of the perpetrators of the murder of John's wife and daughter. Besides that, John also said that he actually wanted to get the death penalty for his actions so that he could meet his wife's daughter who had passed away. Then the next day, Laura came to see Wade. Laura sadly said that she managed to sell their house for $380,000. Wade said that Laura could have sold it for more than that. However, an upset Laura then got angry with Wade because Laura was very tired of living this kind of life. The two of them ended up arguing, and Wade also revealed that he was stuck in prison. He needed to survive in this cruel prison. They both felt trapped in the life they were living. Until finally, an angry Laura chose to leave Wade. In the morning, John and Wade returned to the field. John told Wade to enjoy the days in prison like his usual life. Wade, who heard that, just fell silent and remembered Laura, who left Wade when talking yesterday. Not long after, one of the inmates invited Wade to fight, but Wade refused and signaled to Bill that he didn't want to fight. Bill, who saw Wade's refusal, was annoyed. He then fired rubber bullets at Wade until he fainted. On the other hand, Snowman recovered from his injuries from Danny's attack. Bill then interviewed him about the incident on the bus. He wanted to make Snowman the witness who stated that Danny had killed the inmate on the bus last time. Snowman requested special protection from Danny. This made Wade now appear to be Danny's accomplice for covering up the case. Wade tried to apologize to Bill. but Bill didn't pay attention to Wade's words. The trial for the inmate's death on the bus took place on the 427th day of Wade's detention. Actually, Wade only waited about 20 days for his freedom. However, the court found that Wade received an additional sentence of 6 years for assisting Danny in killing the inmate on the bus. Meanwhile, Danny received a life sentence. The trial was attended by Laura and Maggie, Laura's mother. They both knew that Wade was getting an additional sentence and were disappointed in holding back tears. Wade was speechless and shocked thinking about his fate. After the trial, Laura and Maggie went home. Maggie told Laura to leave Wade because they would meet when Wade was 40 years old. This made Maggie remember that she had been abandoned by her husband since she was 26 years old. Maggie didn't want Laura to wait for Wade while she raised Michael alone. Laura, who was initially stubborn to wait for Wade, finally realized her mother's words. Laura then sent a letter to Wade. Laura said that she couldn't continue their relationship. Wade, who received the letter, felt sad and upset with everything that happened to him. The next day, Wade vented his anger by attacking the gangsters in the field. Meanwhile, Bill immediately went to the hospital because his son had an accident. The man who hit him was also hospitalized at the same hospital as Bill's son. This made Bill want to go to the man and threaten to kill the man's child. On the other hand, Laura was about to move from her mother's house to an apartment, but Michael kept asking about Wade's whereabouts. Michael even took Wade's clothes that Laura wanted to throw away. This made Laura realize that she and Michael actually couldn't live without Wade. It wasn't long before Laura visited Wade in prison. She told him that she had changed her mind. Laura and Michael would wait for Wade no matter how long Wade was in prison. Wade was touched, and he said that Laura's letter had hit him hard. Laura, who knew that, also cried with Wade. Wade, who got Laura back, wanted to get out of prison as soon as possible. He planned to expose Bill's cruelty as head warden. Wade wanted to do this so that he could overturn the 6-year sentence he had just received. John, who knew about it, was willing to help Wade. John suggested Laura meet a former police chief named Gordon. Gordon would then work with an FBI agent. John would order the other inmates to fight Bill when the plan began. Meanwhile, Wade requested Bill to fight with Viper, who had just entered a close cell. Wade argued that he wanted revenge for Viper. Bill, who heard that, easily agreed to Wade's request because he thought that the fight was a show. However, Bill put forward one condition, which was that the fight would end if one of Wade or Viper died. Wade, who knew that, was satisfied because Wade had deliberately provoked Bill. In addition, Wade would use the incident to prove that the warders in the prison were very cruel. The next day, Laura met Gordon at his house. Laura explained about the state of the prison where Wade and John were. Then Gordon invited one of the FBI agents named Scalidi and also Laura to the prison. While at the prison, John and Wade had arrived at the field. Viper, who saw Wade, immediately fought Wade. Not long after the fight, Wade managed to knock Viper out. Bill, who saw Viper just fainted, then warned Wade to kill Viper. However, Wade still didn't want to kill Viper. Then John and the other inmates protected Wade, who was about to be shot by Bill. Then Bill told the other inmates to return to their cells. Meanwhile, Wade and John were still in the field. Bill told his subordinates to turn off the CCTV so that his next action would not be recorded. Bill then approached Wade and John and was about to kill Wade with his knife. Then John, who knew it, immediately slashed his small knife into Bill's neck until he died. Meanwhile, John was finally shot because he resisted Bill. Before John died, he seemed to be smiling because he was happy to meet his daughter and his wife. It was revealed that the incident in the field was recorded on CCTV again. Apparently, Collins, who disliked Bill's violence, turned on the CCTV secretly while Bill was in the field. Then the head of the prison named Frank was shocked because he got information about the incident in the field committed by Bill. He wanted to go to the scene. Fortunately, Gordon, Scaletti, and Laura arrived on time. They asked Frank to show the footage in the field. Moreover, the FBI would investigate the case that occurred at the prison. After the incident, Wade was determined to be a witness to the case at the prison. Wade's detention period also returned to its original state, where Wade only received a 15-month sentence and would soon be free. Laura was delighted to learn that she would meet Wade soon. After Wade recovered, Collins gave Wade a letter from John. At the same time, Gordon came to see Wade and told him about him and John. John apparently saved Gordon from an attack by a prisoner. Wade also said that John finally got what he wanted, which was a death because he wanted to meet his family. Hearing that, Gordon felt sad, but also a little relieved that his best friend got his wish. A few days later, Wade was finally released from prison. He met Michael and Laura again. Even Laura would still marry Wade after that. Wade, who was just free, remembered John's words in which life in prison would make Wade numb. Wade also remembered John, who told Wade to protect his family no matter what. Then, with a happy smile, Wade hugged his son and also Laura at the prison exit.